but there's a link that I can send you guys if you guys want to follow on Facebook or like take my number or something like that. I can send you a link that I've written on how to write a personal statement. There's a lot of things like, okay, I could kind of go over the quick topics right here, what are important to me, what I can think of, but there's a whole paper that I've typed up if you guys want to go through it later, and I can send that link too. So don't repeat what is on your application. That's the first thing you don't do. You've already applied, right? You've already applied through CAAPID. You've written down every single thing you've done, right? You have your resume right here. Personal statement, don't repeat it. They don't want to see the same thing. Yeah, there's a couple of things you do want to highlight. That's on your resume and your CAAPID, but you can't highlight everything. Some people, some of the SOPs I've read, they're too repetitive, and it's a list. It's like a grocery list. Oh, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this, then I did this, then I went here, then I did this, then I did that. You know? No, pick. Out of like 10 things, pick only 2 things you want to mention. You know? And those 2 things should be really strong. So, and make it a creative writing process. Like, have fun with it. This was the best paper that I've ever written. I'll share my SOP with you guys, but it was so fun. I inspired myself with the music. I took weeks with it. I just kind of made a rough draft, and I wrote it, and I put it away. And then I would go back to it, I would go back to it, I would keep building it up, because there was a story that I wanted to tell them. It was a story writing process for me. This is kind of like the outline you should go through. The first paragraph, introduced to dentistry. How did dentistry come into your life? You know, you can't just start off like straight up like, oh, I was in school and I did this. No, how did dentistry get introduced to you in your life? You know, and the second paragraph kind of goes into like, how did you get into dentistry? Like, how did you get interested in dentistry? Right here, you can kind of say like, oh, I chose to go to dental school. You know, I went here, I did this, and then the next thing is passion. That interest that took you to dental school, how did that turn into passion? I started doing research, I started doing this, I started doing really well in school, you know? I got these grades, I got first rank in this, you know? That shows passion. So, and then, through this passion, where do you want to go in the future? How are you a good candidate to be in this profession in the future? Because all these other dentists who are getting older, who's going to retire, we're taking over. How are we, like, how can they trust us, you know, basically? So kind of examples for my personal statement. My first sentence was, who knew that an incident of a steel chair falling on your face and breaking your maxillary central incisor would light the ignition of a Boeing 777 for a lifelong flight of dentistry? This was true. In 7th grade, I dropped a chair to my face and I broke my incisor, you know, and then I had to go to the dentist. That was my first time kind of introduced to the dentistry, you know? And right after that, I stayed with the theme of airplanes. I love airplanes. I still remember when I was here for Duggan's course, I hear the planes all the time, and I was like, this was amazing, you know? And I love planes. I want to get my flying license after I become a dentist and everything, so this was the right theme for me. Find your theme. You know, you like something that you're passionate about, tie it with dentistry. Beginning and ending of paragraph should be really strong every time. Your first statement starting and your last statement starting. Make them remember you. There's 1,000 personal statements sitting in front of somebody, and he's reading that. Most likely he's not going to remember what it said in there. Unless it's something like, oh, why did this guy write about planes, you know? Or something like that, anything. I know someone else is doing on ocean, like, you know, the whole theme is on ocean because she's a swimming champion in India. So all she's talking about is like, oh, I'm in the ocean deep, like, you know, the water is in my chest, I can't breathe, I'm swimming against a tide. All those things are good to use, like, compared with dentistry. So, like, my next paragraph started with, to take flight with my career, it was necessary for me to be at full speed. And then I kind of explained, like, you know what, I went to India, I did this, and I had to prepare myself. Being indirect is really important. Like I said, don't make a grocery list of how good you are at something. Indirectly tell them you are good at something, you know? As the turbulence of being in a new place eventually led to clear skies. I was in a new place, I was in a new country. For me, at least I was here for 8 years, and then I went back. There was problems. It was tough for me. It was not easy. Those 5 years were not fun. You know, there was so many problems that came my way. There was ups and downs. So I want them to know that there was struggle for all of us, right? Whatever we did, wherever we did, even if we're here, we're struggling. Somehow there's a struggle. They should know that, but they should also know that you overcame it. You know, they should know you're strong enough to overcome whatever struggle comes your way. So as the turbulence of being in a new place eventually led to clear skies, I knew that staying consistent, I didn't say I stayed consistent. I just said I knew that staying consistent was the most important aspect of being successful, you know? Hence, I retained first class award during each of the 4 years of my dental studies. It kind of indirectly tells them, like, I knew I had to be consistent, so I worked hard, I was passionate about my work, and I got first class, and I got to brag about it. But it didn't sound like, oh, you know, I achieved first class in all my 4 years. I didn't say it straight up. Kind of give that little touch to it. And this is on my resume also, so I brought it back, but I brought it back in this sense, you know, in a different way. After my smooth landing onto a new runway, the first task for me was to refuel my engine, starting that theme. The theme is always there throughout my entire paper. I'll share it with you, and you guys can read everything in it, but the theme stays. And then I did this by completing the Fundamental Restorative Technique program at Duggan Dental Institute, right, where I practiced various techniques for amalgam, composite, and crown preparations. That's exactly what we did. As soon as we came back from India, we applied to all the schools. First thing we did was take Duggan's course, and it really prepped us up for like how close we have to get to perfection to be actually good at what we do, So that's the first thing we did. As soon as this finished, we set up a garage at my house, and we practiced there, all three of us. And when we came back from India, there was 4 of us, my fiance too. We went with 3 people, came back with 4. And then, so all 4 of us applied to a lot of colleges at the same time. We came back, we did the Duggan's course, and now we're waiting for interview calls. So it's tough, right? It gets tough. It's like there's 4 of us, there's not 1 of us, there's 4 of us. Who's gonna get in? Who's not gonna get in? So it gets tough. It's like, okay. So after this, we all participated in clinical dentistry. We went to became dental assistants in Orange County. I worked at 3 different clinics, and I was telling you earlier, 3 different clinics because I got to network with so many dentists. I got to see who works in which way. UCLA dentist works differently than USC and UOP. So you get to really see like what's going on out there and what kind of work you're doing, and then compared to what you're doing here, it's completely different. Over here is perfection. Like you get to perfection, which is really good. Because it really preps you for your bench exams. And I'll get into that a little bit later. So this was my, I think, last sentence. Being present in the ambience of a dental clinic regularly, observing, learning, assisting, and building relationships, they really, really like that, have advanced my thoughts and diversified my view of practical dentistry. These key elements have expanded my wings and have put me at the ultimate speed for my next takeoff. The theme stays, and the next takeoff is school in America. And I go in that with my last paragraph, which was a conclusion. So in conclusion, take your time with it, inspire yourself with some good music, take weeks to write it, have fun with it, find a story, a theme that you're passionate about, tie it in with dentistry. Ask yourself what really did happen in your life. This is cool because you get to find out who you are, okay? That's why it was so fun for me, because at this point you ask yourself, like, wait, why did I get into dentistry? What was it? And do I really like it? Do I really want to be a dentist? If I do, why? Why is that? What is that thing that I want to be a dentist, And twist it. Twist it to kind of make it like a movie, It doesn't have to be real, like straight up, oh, I want to do this because I want to. No, you can twist it around. It's your story, Like, don't lie, but you could kind of make it sound more entertaining, Like with planes I did, you could do anything you want. Somebody asked me if it's okay to get professional help to write a SOP. I said no, because I want it to be your personal story. I want it to be like your own unique story, and they could tell. They could tell like who wrote this, I mean, I might have some weird stuff written in there, but they know I wrote it, It's a creative writing process. I'm a person too. I'm not just a dental student trying to apply. I'm a person behind this, and I want to show them that I like planes, and I want to write creatively, and I do this and I do that. So those are the things that I wanted them to know. I would rather get it checked by a lot of people. Just get it edited, make sure there's no grammar mistakes. That's a red flag anywhere on your application. Any grammar mistake, any spelling mistake, don't type in anything in capital letters. I think it says that in CAAPID like everywhere, right? Don't write anything, it's like, oh, this. But don't do that, yeah. Those things are red flags, so avoid those. Most important part, supplemental application, I kind of went over this. Make sure you have everything ready. It gets so tough sometimes, especially if you're applying to so many colleges. Everybody is like, oh, some are online, some are, you have to send an envelope, some you need original transcripts from India, or, and some need notarized, some envelopes can be open, some can be sealed. It's so confusing. Write it down, just have it ready, Sometimes we all can get a little lazy and not do these things on time at least, and on these steps, don't make a mistake, just do it, just do it from the beginning. And make sure to get that completion status, okay? Call them, unless they say online that we're not going to contact you until this date, then don't call them. But most of them will tell you, like UOP, they'll give you a completion status right when it's done. So if you don't get that completion status within time of your submission, call them and ask them what's wrong. So interview and bench exam. If you get called for an interview, take it. Take that opportunity. That's what you're waiting for. That's exactly what you want. Now is your chance to actually show all the paperwork that you've sent them, all your creative writing, SOP, and everything you showed them. Now it's your chance to show them who you really are as a person. You know, this is your chance. Take advantage of that. Get prepared mentally and physically, especially for your bench exam. Don't get tired. Don't get your backs hurting. You know, follow the ergonomic instructions they give you here and use your loops if you have them. Know what you want to say and make sure you make a note of what you don't want to say also. You know, don't bring up something. So this is what happened with me. I went to an interview in Oklahoma, and I had passed my NVD2 exam right before I left to Oklahoma. I got my result, so I took it with me. And one interview was so small, I walked in there, and she just asked me like 2 or 3 questions. She was like, okay, I guess that's it. And I was like, no, I paid $1,000. I didn't say this. She looked at me like, you said that? No, I didn't say it. In my mind, I was like, wait, no, I paid $1,000 to be here, okay? And I have a lot more to say, so I'm going to keep going. And I kept talking, and it took half an hour for me to get out of there after. I just kept, and she asked me, the mistake she made was like, is there anything else? And I was like, yes, there is. You know, I'm going to let you know. First thing I want you to know is I passed my NVD2. Here's the letter. You know, it was the original copy. And she was like, oh, wow. And I was like, yeah, and then, you know, there's 3 of us, and we do this, and we do that, and I was doing this, and I was doing, continue. You, like the pathology we've seen in India, you know, we've seen OSMF, leukoplakia, and all that stuff, so they don't know, they haven't seen much of that. Explain. So make a list of things you really want them to know, and don't leave that seat until they know it. Don't leave it. You're paying too much money. You applied, you went through all this, you know, don't let it go. Do it. So make sure you make at least 2 or 3 things that you really want them to know, and tell them. Let them know. Also do your research on what colleges are preferring what, like UOP, it's very personal. They like, their alumni association is very strong, and they like people who want to come back and teach at the school. My passion is teaching, that's why I'm the ADIA rep. So I mentioned that, and they really like that, and I said I do want to go back to the school and be an alumni member. Stuff like that, kind of find out, read on their website what do they like. UCSF is all about diversity, so you can kind of say how you're different from everybody, what kind of culture you can bring to their school, right? So those kinds of things. Know what the college is about personally, and find out exactly and manipulate your answers towards that direction, because that's what you have to do, you know? Stand out. So if you do all this, dress up, okay? Dress up accordingly to the college colors if you can. It'll be cool, it'll be fun, practice in the mirror, talking, and you know, look good, feel good, do everything you can, any way you want to, and go in there and stand out that day. Make sure your interview goes well, make sure they're impressed by your face and your talk and they remember you, okay? If you do this, if you do that and you come out of that interview feeling like, yeah, I got to say what I wanted to do, you know, that went really well, you're 50% there. I'll tell you why, because next day when you do your bench exam, one little secret is, and should be obvious, but don't make a mistake. That's it. That will give you the highest chances of getting accepted. If your interview goes really well, right? If you follow all the application instructions, you do everything on time, no mistakes, you get called for interview, your interview goes really well, next day on the bench exam, don't make a mistake. That's it. And what I mean by that is, get as close to perfection as possible. Like Dr. Duggan teaches you here, right? Do as best as you can. But you know where the most mistakes are? When you go back and refine it in the interview process. Okay? If you get close, if they say I want 0.5 right here, and you get to 0.3 or 0.4, and you're like, oh, I can't get it, and you go back in there and it goes to 0.8, you messed up. 0.3 is good. Leave it at 0.3. Leave it. Get as close to perfection as you can, and that's what they want to see. They want to see your hand skills. If you made a mistake somewhere, that shows them that, no, you know, this is not hand skills. Like, if there's, for example, if there's 100 people at the interview, bench exam, and everybody's making a class 2, right? Let's say 25 people expose the pulp, right? Now those 25 people, most likely not going to get accepted. There's 75 left. If you don't make a mistake, out of those 75, maybe there's 20 which the interview didn't go well, right? Now there's at least 50-55 students out there that you're a candidate of. Your chances are the highest. That's how I look at it. Hopefully that helps, like what I'm trying to say. You know, just try not to make that mistake. Go very carefully, be very chill, relax, especially if your interview went well. Go into the bench exam knowing you're not going to make a mistake. You're going to make what they want you to make as best as you can. That's it. They're going to detect your hand skills and they're going to like you as a candidate. That's it. As long as you don't make that mistake. I think that was very important. I told a lot of students who came for the interview last year the same thing. And a few of them got accepted. I don't know how they did on their bench exam, but it was. I think that's one of the keys that a lot of people go back and try to refine. They're so good at their hand skills. They're so much better, you know, like than a lot of people. But then they try to go and perfect it, and they're so stressed out. They're so nervous. The time is running out, and there's that mistake, you know. So don't do that. Just stay calm and stay above all the people who are stressed out, you know? There you go. Increase your chances by standing out in the interview process and doing well on the bench exam. Not making a mistake. That's it. It's that simple. Last thing, waiting for results at home can be tough after the interview and bench exam. Just stay positive. You know, it's in your hands to stay positive. Once you get accepted, things are going to get tougher. So this is just one stage in life where you're trying to get in. After you get accepted, it gets tougher, especially at home. You won't get time. So my fiance got accepted in Buffalo University. I don't get to see her, right? My brother got accepted in the same school as me. Luckily, we were so stressed out at home. Who's going to get accepted where? Who's not going to get accepted? Look, me and my brother both got accepted in the same school. Out of 21 students, 2 of them are me and my brother. You know, so that's, it can get to wherever you want it to get to. Just know where you want to go. His fiance.
How did you differentiate your application process, both of you? I mean,
his experiences were different than mine in India. His SOP was different, his story was different, everything was different. So, and one of the professors even came up to us after and told us that. It was so weird because both of you ended up at the same spot on the application. They have a point system there at UOP, so like they can't, and like the computer mixes everything up and puts your result in there, and like the professor was like, both of you were like at the right same spot, you know, and both like up high, so we both got accepted, you know? It was cool. But his fiance got accepted at UCLA. And so me, my brother, and his fiance, we went to India 6 years ago together on the same flight, and on the same day, 6 years later, we got a call saying we're all accepted. Buffalo was before, so she got accepted before all of us. But us 3, we went together, we all got accepted on the same year, all of us in California. You know, she's in Buffalo, but all 3 of us in California. So, and be positive. It does work. It does work. I swear to God. You know, just do it. Just be positive. Know where you want to get to, and when are you going to get in? If you don't get in this year, it's good for you. Look at it that way. Like, hey, I didn't get in. I'm going to be stronger than a lot of people next year. You know, just be like that. That's how it was. That's how it should be. Just keep a positive head, and you'll get to where you want to. And the most important thing is know where you want to go. Okay? Because if you have that route, and keep thinking about it. Keep thinking about it. Put it on your wallpaper. Put it everything. I did. I swear I put Golden Gate Bridge on my phone wallpaper, and when you open it, it was a Bay Bridge. Okay, I swear, and I got accepted there. Can you believe that? I mean, so all the adversity, all the obstacles, let them strengthen you. Okay? A kick in the teeth may be the thing that you need. You know, that's it. Just do it. I hope that helps. Thank you very much. Please give me a call or follow me on Facebook or check out our website. I can answer any questions. Yeah.
I've got a problem. I just want to ask everyone if anyone has the answer for it. For my recommendation letters, I asked one of my professors back home to write me one.
Yep.
So he was pretty well in clinic, but I didn't know that he's not very well organized. So it just like took him about 2 months or a month and a half to submit it. And after submitting it, I get some emails from different schools telling me that this recommendation letter is not on letterhead and does not have a signature, a written signature. So what you have to do is to scan the recommendation letter and send it to us. UCLA says that we don't accept scan letters, and you have to mail us directly the
original
sealed
letter. Yeah.
So now I cannot get a hold of him because he's abroad on a vacation. So I'm losing all of my chances, and CAAPID does not do anything for me. And these schools do not let me to introduce some other professor to give me a recommendation. So I'm trapped.
This is your dean, right?
No,
Was the professor?
no, one of my professors, yeah.
Okay. Can't you just change it? Can't you eliminate him?
No,
Just application
CAAPID does not let me do that.
Oh,
The
so
schools do not
No, you can't.
accept because they think that it might be a lie,
fraud.
so
Yeah.
they want the
Oh, okay.
original
So
one.
this happened to us.
Same.
Same, every college was very nice about it except UCLA.
Yeah.
So I called them again and I requested that since my professor is in India, I have sealed copies with their stamp on it, if that would work. But I had a problem with 2 of them. One was from the United States and one, so for the US one, they wanted directly from him. That was fine, I got it done. And then for my professor in India, I sent it, and they accepted, and my application is complete.
What I did was I specifically wrote out the instructions like in really big fonts and specifically wrote out that the letter will be rejected if it is not on the letterhead, if it does not have your signature, if it does not have a date.
No,
Okay.
but it is a CAAPID.
So-
Some problem is there because few schools got the letter with letterhead
Everything,
and
yes.
signature, but some
Yeah.
schools are like.
Did you try
no.
calling CAAPID and ask them?
Yeah, they're like.
They don't
we
entertain you
they
once you
don't
pay
know.
and submit.
I think
It's
that's
really bad.
only with UCLA because I have the same issue.
I got the same issue
No,
from
it's happened
Indiana.
with me with Indiana too.
Indiana.
Indiana? Yeah,
too,
I got it
because
from
felt
Indiana.
like I applied
I was
for
just-
UIC.
The bad
and
thing
they
about
said-
CAAPID, I asked them, do you, in your email, because we introduce our professors by their email, I think.
Yeah.
I asked them, do you provide additional information in the email that you are sending to these professors, telling them
Yeah.
What they need to
obviously that this letter should be? They said
Instructions
no.
specifically,
They said
yeah.
no. We just put this information on our website.
Yeah, they don't actually send instructions to the
They
recommenders
don't,
when we
yeah,
put the emails. In fact, they should be telling them rather than telling us the
Us.
instructions because
Yeah.
we are not the ones who are writing the
Yeah, and
recommendation
then
letters.
expect them to like,
So
Yeah.
these colleges, do they take a supplemental application? Do they want you to print out the LOR and send it to them
Actually,
too?
no, some of them don't.
Only
So-
CAAPID? They only
So
CAAPID.
some of them only take CAAPID. So if you're like, because now Indiana, they sent me from a American dentist that, oh, so-and-so's letter is not right, have the dentist send it.
Mm.
And when I sat down with her and was like, okay, well, I received this email, I forwarded her the email, and then she had to send direct, like a PDF file to them. And she's like, this is exactly what I sent them earlier on the CAAPID, and then she sent them in front of me. So I don't know, it's like. some
And there are
schools
various other glitches on CAAPID application
Yeah.
system. I mean, when we try to upload something, there's something totally different. I mean,
No, but I think their customer service, they are very nice. I had issues with my EC evaluation. I couldn't go directly from CAAPID. So like they worked on my application for 2 days. They couldn't solve it. They referred me to their IT specialist, and that guy, he actually got into my application, logged in my EC, and he did it. So I think even if you have issues with UCLA, call the person, Miss Genevia.
Yeah.
Just call her up. She's
call and ask.
busy. She doesn't get back to you. But I sent her 5 emails, and she replied me like the next week. And she was very nice. She was like, it's okay. And I told her the whole situation that I never got this issue from other universities. So I don't know, maybe she hasn't signed it. And then they just tell her your situation that, the professor is in this country, he's on vacation, I'm really interested in your university. Is it okay if I send you another professors? And
If
by
you
the
have
deadline,
CAAPID,
I
just
will make
let
sure that I will turn in all my paperwork and like be very nice,
Be very
genuine,
nice
and
to
the
them.
truth. That
Because
this
they're
is
working
the-
hard too, right? There's so many
Yeah.
students applying, and they don't all know the computer problems. If there is a computer problem, it's not their fault. So just your part, be nice. Try to get help from them. Be patient and send good emails and try to like tell them like this is really important. I need to get this done. This is going to affect my decision at the end of the day. So please help me out. Try. Hopefully that gets it solved. If anything, send them a letter in an envelope. Sealed envelope. And ask them if that's okay. It's not uploading because of CAAPID reasons, contact this college directly and tell them, hey, the CAAPID, there was a glitch, can I please send you, I have a sealed copy at home, I just have to ship it to you. Can I please do it? Even if you don't, just say it, If they say yes, get it done.
yeah, schools are really good about it.
Yeah.
I mean, Indiana directly asked me to just have it emailed to them directly from the professor. Like,
Mhm.
all schools are really good about it.
yeah,
It's
like
Yeah.
I didn't even have to like
Except you.
ship in or like get a signed and
Then
sealed
if you-
envelope
I-
letter to them.
Oh,
I just
okay.
wanted to be
She said
emailed
sealed
Yeah.
to their
review, I kept
email
opening
address
and
directly.
Yeah, like UOP, they don't care if it's sealed, signed, anything like that. I mean, signed it should be, but they want it scanned, so
Yeah,
they want
it's
you to
just
open
PDF.
it and yeah.
I had a glitch where their checklist, the UOP checklist,
What was wrong?
it would not open.
Same.
You had it, you had to
So I went
call.
to Kinko's and I went to that.
Really?
Also, there's another problem is.
So I actually called Warren Chang and I was like, I cannot do it. So I did.
Put your address.
Most of the time when you
So
change
when
the
I
web
put in my
browser,
address,
it works differently, right?
Yeah.
Most of the time just try with the web browser, it works.
Actually,
Yeah.
My
not
apartment
even
is
that.
like
I
right
did
next to
try
my-
it.
Guys, can we just listen to the question so that we all can benefit from our speaker?
This,
So
Yeah.
Faisal is asking a question.
yeah. within some universities, like when I'm filling the supplemental application, and I'm putting my address, so I put like my apartment is D, but I'm
Okay.
putting, so you cannot move to the next step unless you put it right. Then there is something from the GPA, from the GPS, have to apartment 1
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
And that's why I called Indiana University. I'm putting wrong because my apartment is D, and I have to choose 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I know
I
what you
did
mean.
wrong.
They give you an address that's like
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
postal, like
Yeah.
the legal address, and they ask you which
faced-
one is.
I faced these problem with 2 university supplemental application. I don't know, like, and I put them wrong because when
Yeah.
because I
You
have
had
to, you know,
there
like,
was no option to.
there's no option to
keep
put
it
D,
custom.
and I choose 1. And I know, I called my landlord, I said like, which one will be considered apartment 1? He said, we don't know, like. and I put it wrong, and I called them, and she said, I told her like, it's a wrong address. She said, oh, okay, we're gonna contact
good,
you
yeah.
through email, but
Yeah.
just make sure.
Change it. Yeah, good.
change
You
it.
contacted them and let them know that it's
Yeah.
the wrong address. They didn't let me pick it.
Yeah.
So make sure you change it on colleges. And I think one good thing is they don't really ship us anything.
Yeah,
at home.
that's
No.
right.
I've
Yeah,
never
that's
got
why I
any.
was.
UPenn
I
does.
was.
UPenn does, but it's usually a. I mean,
Yeah.
for me, it was a denial letter. So okay.